BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed ahoy hoy. Welcome one and all to episode 590 of BRB UK. I don't know why I'm doing it in a ring announcer mode.
Because we've got a countdown of 10 before we get knocked out.
The East, Finchley. It's Tim. Say hello.
Hello.
How you doing? You alright?
Yeah, alright. How's you?
Alright?
All good? Yeah.
I've got absolutely naff all to talk about this week. I can see an absolute shed load of things on your bit of the agenda, which terrifies me. So I better get on with calling in the thunder from down under, and the down under means that it Pompey spits south, I suppose. Coleman. Hello.
Down under London.
Yeah. Hi, you had the mouth of the South right there.
Nice.
The choice of the choiceless, CM Chunk.
Nice. Well, how are you going to alliterate with Slough or Langley? That's what I want to know. Audience question. I'm going to need some amusement because there's a whole lot of Tim going to come at you in this
from
episode.
Langley.
What the?
I was going to say in a roundabout way. Nice. So, chaps, it sounds like you've had an exciting week looking at this agenda. You've been to WASD. We went to WASD, WASD.
Did you have nice times?
Yes.
Yeah, it was all right.
Am I going to hear about it at excruciating length from Tim?
Also, yes.
Maybe excruciating length.
Excruciating
length.
Yes.
Maybe.
Man, there's a lot of stuff to wear. I mean, I think probably we ought to do a little bit of upfront housekeeping. We know stuff has happened in the news this week, such as there being no BlizzCon this year. Idea Xbox doing a thing where they announced a bunch of stuff, but we're going to have to concentrate on WASD this week. So that's what we are going to do. That's where
we're going to talk about the games
Coleman
we
went.
done played.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really strap in. There's some Tim coming at you, and there's nothing I can do about it. So
everything is preview games. Everything well, except for the actual review games we've got, but the preview games are pretty quick to get through. I shouldn't think that we're going to spend an entire hour talking about.
Have you
these.
met Tim?
Yes.
Have
yes,
you met
and I've
him?
since
do you know how
I've since learned
what his abilities to speak in short little chunks is actually like? Very limited.
Yeah, but you forget then. I'm the master of the controls. I can do things like take Tim off the screen like that. I can bring him back on. I can mute him if I wanted. Tim say something. Nope. And bring him back again.
Wow. That's great. I need this.
Oh, I'm still got him muted. Hold on. Hand you back to
him. I'm unmuted now. That's better.
Right.
I can either overwrite him with a duff. Oh, two of them.
What? All the duffs.
Wow. I'm just going to hand over to you guys because you've been at WASD, which was this weekend just gone.
Yep.
To remind our listeners, for those of them who haven't been to a WASD before, what kind of fun and games is to be had at said WASD?
Well, Daniel, it's actually quite an interesting one because this was from the creators of EGX and EGX Resd, split away and formed their own new gaming expo called WASD. It's been running for a few years now. Tim is usually the one who goes on his own. I decided to attend with him this year, especially after the letdown of EGX last year. And it's a bit of a smaller indie affair. They've gone from Tobacco Dock, where they used to hold Resd, and now they've moved to what's the name of it, Tim? The brewery?
The True Moon Brewery in Brick Lane.
In Brick Lane, which is an interesting venue.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's last year they pushed for more large games. It looked like this year we're back to more smaller indie affairs, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you felt about the show overall, Tim. I found that when there's smaller games, you tend to get a limited amount of demo units per game, which means it's a bit difficult when you want to play a game and then there is no kind of control over. Someone's decided they're going to sit there and play a game for 45 minutes and there's secure people behind them waiting to play.
I have a question.
I don't really know how you enforce that, but
I have a question. How many times did people fight Tim to the death as he spent 45 minutes going through menus?
I mean,
I think one game Tim played a lot, but he was talking to the developer as well.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought the selection of games was reasonably good. like I would have actually liked another day there because there was quite a few things I didn't get to play. Like playing through the whole day. We did also spend some time talking to developers and stuff. That took up a bit of my time, but I would have liked another day overall to just play a few of the things that I missed. Like I didn't get to play any of the Devolver Digital stuff. It didn't seem like there was anything there that I hadn't played before, aside from Children of the Sun. Is it Children of the?
Really glad you finished that sentence in the way that
Yeah,
you did.
which
I'm really upset I didn't get to play with children of the.
could have just cut his mic out of that point.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been amazing.
And just while we're mentioning other ones that I didn't get to play, the one that I only noticed when I was going through and sort of looking up information about the ones I did play, I'll mention particularly because it comes under our kind of gaming for good category. It's called I'll Be Brave Tomorrow, which I did see at the show but didn't kind of gravitate towards. But I didn't know at the time that this is raising money for Great Ormond Street Hospital, so I would have paid a bit more attention had I known that. And yeah, like there was a few other games and a few other things I would have liked to see. As Pete's just commented as well, we did get to see Pete Linzell at the event as well, so it was nice to run into him and say hello, and he was very complimentary, and that was a nice interaction. So thank you very much, Pete, for that. That was really nice to see you at the show. And yeah, I think he recommended a game, and we couldn't quite work out what that was either, no, Coleman. But so if he could,
I don't think that was the same Pete, Tim. That was Pete Beckett we met. No,
it was.
There's only room in Tim's brain for one Pete in the universe at any time.
From Rapid Reviews Radio podcast.
Sure?
Yeah, started listening to it and everything.
Thrilling, though I'm sure this conversation is for everyone in the audience about which Pete did we meet. Was it this Pete or was it that Pete?
The Pete that we met.
Shall we talk about some video games? I'm personally thrilled to see Pete Linzell here in the audience. Can I just say hello, Pete?
He's great.
Apparently my volume needs turning up, Mr. Coleman.
I have turned it up.
I've been turned up. So, without further ado, all of this talk about Pete's behind us, for there can only be one Pete around Tim at any time. What did you done play, chaps?
So top of my list, and my favourite game that I actually played at the show, I will start with, was a game that I hadn't heard of before going into the show, a game called Last Spartan, Glory Over Madness. So this is almost a continuation of the kind of story of 300, almost kind of thing. Going on from that, if Leonidas had actually survived,
Leonardus, Donatellus, Raphaelus,
yes.
Michelangelo,
and had actually survived, and kind of then went on to kind of be in the story of this game. That kind of where this is coming from, basically. So he is the last Spartan alive. All of his other men have died, and then this kind of comes into a game which is it's described as a deck building game, where it's more accurately a dice building game, because you actually got I think 6 different die that you are rolling in combat, but as you go throughout the game you can upgrade the faces of those dice with better and better kind of outcomes.
With my face?
Yes. No. But you can also and having a look at the screen, it looks like 5 die rather than 6. But anyway, but you can upgrade the face of those die as you go, and then get better outcomes. But you can get like 2 re-rolls per thing, and then you can just select the ones that can actually give you the powers. And also, like, there's a sanity meter, so you can restore your sanity, or you can restore your health as you go as well. I like deck building style games. This one had a nice kind of feel to the kind of rolling of the dice and re-rolling of it, and you're choosing the path that you take through combat, so you can choose like different combat things or picking up different treasures, which generally give you a different dice face. There was a kind of power system that wasn't in the demo. The developer did say this was a slightly outdated version of the game. Like, this was a kind of vertical slice that they'd taken that was a couple of months out of date now. And so there were other things that had been added and other things going on. Also, it was a German developer, and they mentioned that the studio was called Badge Spiel studio, basically. And it explained to me that that's a joke in German as well, because bad also
They
means
have them. It's
bathroom.
official.
So it's kind of like bathroom
Germans,
game,
all
basically. But yeah, anyway, I really liked the game. I really enjoyed it, and it's one that, as I said, I didn't know about going in, and I'm now really looking forward to. It was playable on PC on the day, but it's coming eventually. At least I don't know if it's coming at launch, but it is eventually coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and Mac as well.
Ooh, the Mac,
yeah.
you say?
Yes. So it's good that was mentioned as well. But yeah, I think this will be a really good game on Switch. So that's where I'll probably look to pick it up, basically. But could be also good for your massive geeks as well.
It does look like it would reside well perched upon my massive. You can actually
Talk
wish
about
list
my
this
massive
now
geek.
on Steam. I've just done so. I recommend you do the same. It's a really awesome,
well done.
awesome looking game. And,
I like the art style, I like the game. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
Sweet.
Cool. I'm going to jump in with one here, and I'm going to steal Tim's thunder because I've been playing Arcade Paradise VR. 'Cause I'm a massive fan of
VR.
Yes.
Get
Unfortunately, Dan, I'm a massive fan of Arcade Paradise to the point where I've actually bought the game twice now because I picked it up on PS5.
Hey, look at you
'cause I was
stealing
very
my
excited.
Destiny thunder.
Yeah, and then
That's how
I
you know a
went, this
game's
is really
good. You buy it several times.
Oh, well, I'm really enjoying this. I'd much prefer to play this on the move, though, so I bought it on the Steam Deck afterwards as well.
Okay,
this is
that
the
makes
game
sense.
where you run a laundrette and start building a arcade in the back of the laundrette in secret, so you can, well, run an arcade without your dad knowing who owns the business. This is the same game but made for VR now, so you're doing the same kind of thing. You're managing running the laundrette while you're sneakily buying arcade cabinets. But the additions to this is that A, you've got motion controls in VR, and B, you've got the option of VR games that you can play.
Yeah.
Specially made cabinets to play in VR. So more like shooting gun games and things to throw in there as well. Now, the bit that and all that I liked all that idea when they announced it. Went, yes, I can't wait to play this on the PlayStation VR. No, it's just as many games that are getting announced now, it's a MetaQuest exclusive.
They
unfortunately.
haven't said that it's definitely coming to other platforms, but the developers have commented when asked if it was coming to PSVR 2 that they like to bring their games to as many gamers as possible, or something along those lines. So
Yes,
they
but
have
they've
hinted
been-
at the fact this will come to PSVR 2 at some point.
Yeah. But unfortunately, when I was playing the game, the VR stuff, it just kind of added to the length of doing anything in the game. So, like I say, you're running a laundrette, so picking the laundry up, putting it in the washing machines and out in the dryers and stuff
Sounds
took
fun so
even
far.
longer. Yeah, or cleaning the properties. And it took even longer because of the motion controls and stuff added
But
to
see,
it.
I liked
then
it more, though. But yeah.
Yeah, but you're weird.
Yeah,
And
I am.
with
So,
the added...
only because your missus has trained you very well. You're now like, oh yes, laundry, that is fun. Yes, I should do laundry. Yes.
But the whole point of those laundry sections is to do it in like a specific amount of time so you can get the better scores and stuff. And then when you add in the motion controls and it takes even longer, it kind of makes it a bit more of a menial task. And then the 6 added cabinets, I didn't get to actually play any of them because they weren't unlocked in the game that I was playing. Tim got to play later because he carried on. I think someone else carried on from my game, and then Tim carried on from that game.
Yeah.
So he got to... I bought a cabinet, which Tim was then playing, but I didn't actually get to play any. And then when I said to the guys, I didn't get to play any of the VR cabinets. He's like, oh, yeah, they're not unlocked on that demo unit. I'm like, oh, all right. So
Seems
I
a
didn't actually
bit
get
of an
to...
odd demo choice, I'm not going to lie.
No, well, because they started from the beginning of the game and then just, like, I think they reset it every now and again.
But
so
they have the power.
Coleman was
the
just
developers.
right at the beginning of the... You would
They
have
can
thought
make
that they
that
would have
happen.
just made it so that they were all open and you could try lots of them. Like, that would have been a better idea, possibly. But
hey, we'll let you
but I
strap it
think
on your
it
face,
was-
but we're not going to let you touch any of the VR content.
just as a point of
Right,
reference, I think
okay.
it was the publisher showing off the game, not the developers. So I don't know how much
Okay.
that fed into their ability to mess around with the build of the game or jump around. But yeah.
As Kev's just pointed out, VR, you should start a podcast for that. VRB. VRB. New episode coming soon, I believe.
And I did speak about my impressions of Arcade Paradise on VRB with Kev, which we've already recorded, but will come out after this episode due to time traveling
And that's
reasons.
where those impressions should stay, Tim. No double
Yes.
dipping for
Okay.
you, sir.
No.
Pick your next
No,
game,
sorry,
Tim.
Right. So next game, I'm gonna go with another good one. I'm gonna go one that I liked. I'm not sure how much you liked it.
Pick a
Because
crap
we
one.
both
A
played
really
it. We
terrible
both
one.
played it.
I want to know the biggest disappointment from WASD.
Oh, okay.
I
If
want
we
to
wanna-
hear you crush the dreams of an indie
Right.
developer live on YouTube.
That
That's what I
I can
want to
do.
hear you do.
That I
Let's-
can do
let's
for
have
you.
it, Tim.
So let's do. There's only one real big disappointment on the day, and that was a game called Inferni, Hope and Fear. And I really wanted to like this game. I think it is a really good idea. I just don't think this was a very good implementation of that idea.
Tragic the Gathering is how I would expect you to describe this.
Well, it's a kind of collectible card game in a battle royale format, and I was like, okay, that
Right.
sounds intriguing. That sounds cool. And I will preface this slightly with this may be tempered by my enjoyment of the game being hampered by the circumstances and what, because it's a 2-on-2 card game where you're collecting cards and getting cards, and there's like a draw section where you're drawing different cards, and then a kind of combat section, and it kind of flicks between those two things. But one, I found that the feedback from the game was lacking generally in terms of telling me what was going on and what was happening. Like, I was accidentally sending cards to my co-op partner rather than using them in the game, and I didn't know that for a bit because I was right clicking rather than left clicking. But then the left clicking, you need
You
to
fool.
like drag and drop the card onto one of your opponents for it to take shape, but it didn't give you any feedback that was what you needed to do before you did it, and it didn't give you much feedback when that was happening, aside from what happens is you basically drop it on your opponent, and then it draws a line between you and that opponent, and then it kind of steadily progresses along that line until it hits them. But that meant that there was no immediate feedback or no general feedback, unless you're particularly watching that go across, which you don't want to do because you're actively then going on and doing other things in combat. You don't get any feedback from that happening. So I could do a spell to say the person on the opposite side of the arena and one of the opponents, and like that would then I would then not see that react with the person there, so that it was just kind of I just let it off and let it go, and then I don't see the implications of what happens. So then I don't know if I get that spell again. I don't know if that's a good spell, whether it was good, whether it did a lot of damage to them. Like the feedback was a bit lacking. The thing that really let it down though was the fact that I was paired with a healer. So I was like, okay, well I'll go with someone that doesn't have much health but is good at attacking. And then the healer that I was paired with didn't bother to heal me very much. And I turned to them at one point and went, I could do with some healing. I'm about to die. And they went, oh, I sent you a heal spell. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But you sent me a heal spell in the whole time we've been playing and I'm about to die. And then I died. And then I spent 4 or 5 minutes just watching as like because basically the two opponents ganged up on me and just like completely went after me. And then I died. And then the healer was left on their own against the other two, and so died subsequently afterwards.
They also send you a card called the world's smallest violin, which you then have to play ad
No,
infinitum.
but it was this right. It was a slightly bad thing, but that was just slightly bad co-oping, and maybe that wouldn't be an issue if I was doing it with someone I knew or someone I was liaising with or whatever. More probably, but but the thing I think was poor game design was that you have player elimination in a game that's going to be online and multiple rounds. And I can see that people online will just quit if they get eliminated. It should be like a points-based system or something where, okay, I died, but I get to carry on playing. Or there's some interaction that I can still do within the game that helps out my co-op partner that I can do from the grave kind of thing. Otherwise, you're just online, people are just going to quit. And I think that's right. I said it hampered my enjoyment of the game on the day, but I can see how that would be a problem for the game design online going forward anyway. So yeah, as I said, didn't create a good impression with me, but I also just think like the fundamental implementation of all the lines going across and the spells doing just meant that the whole thing was just not very impressive at all. And I just came away going, okay, no, I'm no interest in that now, I'm afraid. So no.
Also, that game is in such early development stages that we don't actually have a trailer for it. So that's why there wasn't any footage up on the screen.
I think there is a page up on Steam.
There's a dev
Yeah.
diary. Their Steam page just has still images. I do all this stuff before the show, you see.
Amazing. You do.
Yeah. All right. I would like to give special mention to Thank Goodness You're Here, which is one that
That looks very
this
funny.
was announced 8 months ago. I think this was announced at Gamescom. This is coming to PC and Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 5. It is a bizarre little British puzzle game that just kind of captures all this quintessential stereotype British stuff, especially from the north. And
Right. Is it
and
Viz
kind
the
of
video game? Is that what you're alluding to?
less Viz, more like Monty Python, I think.
Oh, nice.
It's got a lot of kind of sparring to that. Even so much, if you've seen the trailer, it's done to Scaffold, Millie the Pink, which works very well with it. It's a very frantic and hilarious little game. You play as weird-looking little yellow man who he enters each area, and it seems to come a point of people's struggles where they say, "Thank goodness you're here," and then you have to figure out a way of helping them. So, in one instance, I was thrown into the window shop display of a fishmonger's, and the fishmonger says, "Thank goodness you're here. My display's not ready," and it's all the smoked fish, but they're just regular fish. So you have to hit them until little cigarettes start popping out of their mouth. So then they're smoked fish. That's the kind of level of detail we're dealing
Really
with here.
stupid. I heard
And
other people
it's
like
just-
literally laughing their head
For a-
off while playing this game
For a
as well.
start,
so-
I
they'd have to
was.
stick him in their gills. So actually, what we're seeing there is an unfortunate anthropomorphic assumption of how the
Oh no, we lost Dan.
Oh no! Just happened to go down then, Dan. What a shame.
uh
Technical difficulties.
I'm moving
But, so
everyone
they
around when I
described
do that. I
this
just noticed that.
So they
Mhm.
describe this as a comedy slap-former, is how they describe it on their website.
Yeah, the way you interact with objects is slapping them. It's very funny. I really like all the kind of background items and things that add to the comedy. For instance, there's a like one of the starting areas in the demo. You're just in someone's living room. You get pushed out of a chimney. You cover a living room in soot. There's a guy there going, "Help yourself to some scrambled bread," which I found a very funny sentence. But like, there's Backy on the side, and there's a 10 bob note, and like stuff
Nice.
like that. It's just very funny. Lots of good British accents and humor thrown in there. And I really, really enjoyed this one. I'm looking forward to this one.
At
You
the
can
risk
also
of being...
wishlist this,
Was it-
Steam, do that, click the button. Yes.
Yes, I have wishlisted this.
At the risk of being thrown out of the show, I
What?
believe Millie the Pink was a musical number that predated any recordings of it. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, we lost Tim.
No,
he's back.
I mean, it's such an excellent point he was making before he tragically got cut off there.
Anyway, what's next, Tim?
Next, right, I'm going to go with another good one. Well, again, this is one I was going to do before. I'm not sure how much you liked it, Coleman, but I did. A game called OutRage Fight Fest.
Oh, this looks fun. This looks very
I
silly.
like the look of this. Very silly. Reminded me, and I heard other people say similar of, and I've forgotten the name, Power Stone on Dreamcast, basically. Just because of the perspective, the kind of isometric kind of view. But this is a 16-player brawler, up to 16 players. We only played with 4 players, and even
Four-player
then, it
local,
was quite
16-player
hectic,
online.
basically. Yeah.
Mm.
But it basically, it's a kind of simple brawler. Like it's had like one attack button, one sort of jump button, and there was kind of specials and stuff that you could kick off as well. But the one thing I like, the kind of visual feedback. If you're in the lead, like points wise, you actually grow physically larger, so everyone knows that you are the one to attack, basically. Which I thought was a good mechanic and a good way of simply signifying that. So everyone knows who to go after because they're in the lead. So that kind of acted as a natural balancing as well, which I thought was quite a good idea. So I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it as much, Coleman? I wasn't sure that you did.
I did not, but I don't know if it's the game itself or the kind of situation of the demo, because we walked out. It looked like there was a few people kind of standing around waiting to play, but didn't want to for some reason. So me and Tim sat down, and then one other guy joined us, and then one of the guys showing the game off, I don't know if he's a developer or just there to show the game off, sat down as well. So he then explained to the guy next to us like all the controls and how everything works, while me and Tim were just sat there going, okay, we are ready to play. And then we just instantly started getting my ass handed to me. Like,
well, perhaps it just did that
I think there's
thing
an
that older
unfair
brothers-
disadvantage.
that all older siblings used to do. They just let you hold the controller and think you were taking part. Maybe
It did
that's
feel
what they
like
did.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
I had the Mad Catz controller that wasn't plugged in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're doing really well. Well
You did
done.
great, buddy.
My opinion may have been influenced by the fact that I did win a couple of rounds as well, which kind of helped. But yeah, there were kind of last minute clutches of victory as well, which kind of added to my enjoyment. But yeah,
So I mean, it
that's,
sounds like
yeah,
sounds
sorry.
like kind of you guys did the battle. Was it the battle royale mode? But it seems like there's other game modes like free for all, some team based stuff, and it looks like just a really. It kind of almost reminds me a bit like a slightly more chaotic version of Fall Guys in some ways. Got that kind of slapstick nature to it, but
it's a bit more of a straight fighter. That it's not kind of like the silly, squiffy kind of
Okay.
physics, and there's
it's
not kind
Gang
of
Beasts with
silly
better
costumes.
controls.
that's what I was thinking about. Gang Beasts. Yes, you are correct. I was
Yeah.
getting my getting my comedy slap fests mixed
That
up.
type of thing. But as I said, the thing it most reminded me of was Power Stone. But there's a Steam demo available now, I believe. So yeah,
Correct.
you can check that out for yourself. It's coming to PC, but I'm hoping it's coming to other platforms as well in the future, because that's where I would like to pick it up, basically. But yeah, I enjoyed that one. I thought it was good.
Do you know what this would be good
Yeah.
on? My massive dick is what I think this would be good on.
Keep on bringing up your massive deek.
I do. It's almost like I've got a complex about it. Fantastic.
I think this is better suited to some couch shenanigans, big screen stuff rather than the Steam Deck.
Yes, yeah.
You
It'd
ruining
be
my
a bit
fun.
hectic for the Steam Deck.
Do you know what? I'm
sorry,
going to
Dan.
download the demo and play it on my massive dick just to spite you.
Oh,
Oh, fine. Oh, get you.
Oh,
Mini
bloody
Steam
hell.
with a big Steam Deck.
Don't.
While
make
we're
me
doing
come over
Steam
there
Deck,
and slap
Can
you.
we,
What?
as I've got a few more games than you, Colin, can I do another one that I played on Steam Deck?
No,
'Cause
it's my go.
It was one that I thought was impressive, and I enjoyed playing on Steam Deck enough that I
Sounds
was
like
like,
not giving you a
"Ooh,
choice, Colm.
maybe I should buy a Steam Deck myself."
Well, I do you a nice price on an LCD screen Steam Deck, Tim.
Oh,
just
you
saying.
still got yours? Oh,
Yeah, I just
okay.
haven't sold it yet.
Oh,
nice price.
I might have a
I'll buy it
conversation
just to
with you
spite,
after the
just
show.
to spite Tim.
Just to wave it in
I want
my
two of them.
face. Although that OLED screen does look nice. I think the ones we were playing on were OLED.
Come
we were
on,
saying,
Tim, back
Coleman,
on
though.
track.
Anyway, right, yeah.
Sorry,
So I played a
distracted him.
game called Lunar Abyss. And this is a first-person shooter, a kind of puzzle first-person shooter. The kind of most striking thing about it was the graphical style. It's not quite monochromatic, but it's almost like
Yes,
black
it's
and
got
white
colours
and
for a
red
start.
are like very heavily like featured. It's mainly those three colors. And it really popped quite nicely, and like to the point where you could really tell an individual screenshot of this apart from other stuff. As I said, I played it on the deck. It was available, and I did see it running on the PC as well, and it was available to play at WASD on the PC.
A Steam
there
Deck
is
game running on the PC. Who'd have
Yes.
thunk it?
No, but I'm just saying I did see it on a big screen as well, so I didn't just see it on the little screen there. But I
Or
think
were
it
you
worked,
just holding
like-
it close to your face, Tim?
yeah, this is really close. But no, I think it looked really nice on the Steam Deck as well. I think it looked particularly good as well. Anyway, but it was an interesting kind of puzzle platform as well. It kind of for some reason reminded me of the original Prey, not because it was doing anything like gravity jumping up on the ceiling or anything, but just because it was a
Song or the
first
game?
person puzzle platformer. But like it didn't.
Or the film?
Yeah, it had a kind of like easy lock on type thing, and it was a bit bullet helly as well. So it kind of reminded me of I was going to say Resogun, but no, what was Returnal? it kind of reminded me of that as well. So I kind of liked that it was a bit like that. It was nowhere near as difficult as Returnal, but it had the same kind of bullet hell enemies that are just firing continuous things that you can kind of dodge around. It was a bit easier to dodge in and out of them as well. But yes, kind of.
Well, that's why I
not
call
really.
it bullet hell, Tim. Otherwise, it'd be
Not
like marshmallow
sacrable.
hell.
Not really. More like orbs of stuff that were shot out at you
Orbs.
by alien things. Because
Alien
it was all a
orbs.
bit more kind of an alien world and an alien environment that you were kind of traversing through, and you kind of had like doors that you had to shoot with guns. But it had like a couple of
Alien
guns you had to
doors.
flick between, and like a lot of the enemies later on in the demo had shields that you had to blast with one of the guns, and then switch to the other guns to actually finish them off a bit quicker. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. Like again, wasn't one that I knew about going in, but as I said, played it on the deck. But it is also coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S. I don't know if this is one that might come to Game Pass, but if it is, look out for it and pick it up on there. Otherwise, yeah, it's one worth looking out for anyway, and one that is on my radar now, basically.
Got a really interesting setting. I like a little bit of kind of exploration of mysterious alien structures. Always floats my boat. So
Mhm.
that has a lot of that going on.
Alien structure. Gun. There's a demo of this on Steam right now. I've installed this on my Steam Deck, so
Mhm,
I'll
And
be looking forward to giving it a try because I'm
Oh,
still playing
yeah.
Fallout.
God, really?
All
Now
right.
that's something we need to come back to. But anyway, maybe not this week.
Nah, not really. We've been talking about Fallout enough the last
Yeah,
few
yeah.
weeks. The holy gosh
all I will
darn.
say on that note, then, before we do this, is that I'm just so pleased that despite the fact that Bethesda are now owned by Microsoft, the patch they deployed for Fallout 4 just broke everything. I was like, good on you, Bethesda. Don't you stop being you. I'm so proud. Stay true to your values.
Unless you were playing on Steam Deck, then it fixed everything. So that was
No,
good.
it didn't. I heard it
It-
hit all the graphical settings. It's what it
Well,
did.
I will. All right. Well, we'll talk about that another time.
Oh,
It's,
right. Fine.
It
all right.
it actually plays and doesn't crash on the Steam Deck now. That's the best part about
Oh, but that's not as fun
That
as me
sounds
having a
good.
pop at Bethesda, is it?
it. No, unfortunately not. The holy gosh darn, something that I'm finding myself increasingly close to shouting, is it's a spin-off from Manual Samuel. I don't know if you guys ever played that one, the game where you were a guy who got killed and then brought back to life and had to prove that he wasn't lazy by controlling every single part of his body. So you had to run through walk cycles kind of like QWOP, and also control the characters blinking and breathing and just absolutely everything. So it made for a very
You
fun,
liked that. I did not, but yeah.
funny
That
puzzle
sounds
game.
like a multitasking nightmare.
It was very fun. And one of the characters from there was the Grim Reaper, who returns in this game called the Holy Gosh Darn. And you're playing as a different character up in heaven. You are playing as an angel who has been tasked with trying to save heaven as it has been destroyed. And then because phantoms have invaded heaven, and then once phantoms cross the heaven's gate instead of actual human souls or dog souls or whatever, then heaven will explode.
Dog souls?
So
all dogs go to heaven.
Yeah.
There was a
Yeah,
film
there's
about it. and
the-
everything.
Nah, some don't.
the angels are sitting
they're
around
cats, then.
counting dogs going as they go through the gates to while away the hours of the day. But anyway, so Death returns from the previous game and gives you the ability to reverse time, fast forward time, place markers, and it's a lot of going kind of back and forth on yourself, finding items, and then talking to people and working out how to solve all the puzzles to get through the day and save heaven from exploding. But to do that, you have to manage it's got that kind of Majora's Mask sense to it. You've got to manage your time wisely. So you'll have to you'll figure out like an answer to a puzzle by talking to someone, and then you'll rewind time and then get to that point where you don't have to talk to that person anymore. So you kind of skip past conversation, which helps and doesn't help, because in some situations, characters will get annoyed with you for just interrupting them or skipping them and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I really
like something you would love just because you would like to skip the conversation with me and Dan more often.
Oh no, we've lost Tim.
Mhm. I'm sure my days are numbered as well, Tim.
Yeah.
Just be Coleman with his soundboard. That'll all be left.
We're going to be replaced by
I'm here
AI
with my
soon, Dan.
friends.
But no, this one's a really good sequel. It's a different style of game than the previous one. This will be coming to PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. And there is a free demo out on Steam right now, and it's quite a lengthy demo as well. So you can get your hands on with this one. I recommend it. And plays very well on the Steam Deck as well, Dan.
Ooh.
Ooh. Go on then, Tim.
Excited Steam Deck noise.
Right. The next one I'm going to talk about is one, again, I didn't know anything about this going in, so it's always nice to discover new games. And this is one that I was particularly interested in, having just, kind of got into it and seen what it was, because it reminded me of John Brady, previous alumni of BRB UK. And it's a game called Times and Galaxy. And it's a silly kind of funny game where you are a robot reporter, a roving robot reporter, that's kind of putting together stories, not Scottish, but yeah, but in space, kind of futuristic setting, and you are tasked with sort of writing up stories for an intergalactic newspaper, I think. It didn't necessarily specify where there's a newspaper, but you're making news stories and putting them together. And you do this by going and kind of interviewing different witnesses and
Tim's heard of the internet.
Different people that you are kind of interviewing to try and get to the truth of what's happening and what's going on and try and get to the bottom of things. But you can do things in particular ways. So like you can kind of structure the story so it's a bit more sensational and kind of you've got like 3 different ways that you can structure the story in terms of, whether it's going to just be a sensationalist thing, whether it's going to be informative, and I can't remember what the other part of the triangle is, but you can kind of structure it based on the information that you find.
True.
And whether you kind of how you balance that out based on the options that you pick from the ones that you found. Like I really liked the humor in this. It was really quite silly and funny and made me laugh. And like it obviously wasn't taking itself too seriously at all, but I kind of liked the mechanics of building the story and putting the bits together, bits of information that you have together as well. It felt a bit like you were sort of digging into a kind of mystery and kind of piecing things together. The story that you're tasked with doing in the demo was all about a kind of crash of a spaceship, and you're kind of putting together the story of like what happened and kind of find out that it was a rogue AI that was flying the ship, but then the police kind of did some dodgy stuff and were kind of trying to dig into the story and find out what was going on. But I as I said, not one I knew about much going beforehand, but one that is definitely on my radar now. Unfortunately, it's only listed as coming to PC. But this would be a good one for Steam Deck as well, Dan. Like, and Mr. Coleman, I think you'd both enjoy that on there. And
I bet I won't.
This. Well,
I think I'll hate it too.
Well, fine. But could also be a good fit for Switch.
I won't
as
like
well,
it.
So. No.
And there is a demo out again.
Yeah.
Again,
Steam demo available now as well. So go check that out. I recommend that. I had fun with that, basically.
All right. Talking about the Steam Deck, there was one I played on the Steam Deck, and that was Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip, which I won't go into too much, but...
Oh, that's some glorious alliteration right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I really... just to quickly mention, I really liked the Steam Deck section that they'd set up. They'd set up 4 different Steam Deck, or 3 or 4 different Steam Decks, and each one had different categories of games on them, so you could just go to the menu and pick a different demo that you wanted to play. But one side was comedy, another was British games, overseas games. Like, really cool idea, I thought. And this was one of the ones that one of the first ones I jumped on. And it kind of starts off with you playing this character called Terry, sitting in a waiting room, and you're talking to the person next to you, and they go, "Oh, have you enjoyed this conversation? Shall we carry it on? Here, what's your phone number?" And he goes, 1. I was like, that's my humor. I'm sold. But the main game, it's basically Simpsons Hit and Run, but with really
Oh.
stupid humor that is my kind of thing. So
Ooh.
yeah, check that one out. That's coming to PC, but we don't know when.
It's got a very
Ooh. I don't think it's
distinctive
a demo
art
for
style,
yet.
that one as well, no? Like, I haven't seen anything
Yeah,
quite
like little
like
blue
it.
faces and big lips and eyes and stuff. It's very funny. But yeah, I really like the look of this one. You can Mr. Bean drive a car off the roof of the car? Yes, you can. Thank
Sure.
you, Sarah.
Yes, why not?
And you were worried these live streams were going to get muddy by all the comments coming through. Right,
Wait.
we got one left, haven't we, Tim?
Yeah, speaking of driving, and I might let you lead on this one, take the wheel on this one, Coleman, because
Ah!
my playthrough of the game
Car.
was ruined by some idiot standing behind me and trying to put me off the whole time I was playing. Some
Go
bald
mad.
buffoon who kept on barraging me the whole time I was trying to drive.
Damn it, Coleman. Damn it.
One of my favorite things to do at Games Expos is to
annoy Tim.
It's usually Tim, but stand behind someone and go, "Do better," especially if the dev's there. But yes, this was Victory Heat Rally, which I had a little test. This was to kind of prove my point on the it takes too long to wait to play games sometimes. This was one. So while me and Tim, they were doing like a little special thing. They only had one demo unit, and they were timing each people, kind of like reasonably priced car, star in the whatever the hell they used to call that thing. And they were getting everyone's lap times, and they were doing a little scoreboard on it and stuff. So one guy was in front of us just replaying because he was trying to get a better score. So I just went, Tim, I'm going to connect my Steam Deck to my hotspot on my phone, download the demo, and I bet I'm playing this before we actually get to play this game. And would you believe it? It worked.
You were.
To be fair, it was only like 3 to 5 minutes or so. It wasn't exactly a massive amount of time. But you did do that quite quickly. So yeah, it was quite funny as well.
Yeah. I know how to do that stuff quick. But yes, this one's really cool. It's the 16-bit pixel style racing game, very arcadey. The full game itself, the version we were playing, it was the quick round the track racing thing, but the game itself has more of a story mode RPG style to it, where you're on a mission to win a car PG. Yes, I'm sure we've used that before. But yeah, it looks really nice. It plays really well. I was enjoying it. I liked that I got to beat Tim's time by like half a second, and then just kept shouting that I won. But while I was playing, because while we were waiting and I was playing on the Steam Deck, I kept going, it's basically Daytona. And Tim's like, it's not Daytona. It's like, it's Daytona. It's basically Daytona. It's basically just coming out of any car game. It's like, this is basically Gran Turismo. It's basically Forza. And then when I was playing the game, the woman who was demoing, she went, "You've been shouting at your friend all this time. Now you got to prove that you're better than him." I was like, it's fine. It's basically Daytona. But yeah, I was having a great old time with this, and I've carried on playing it since on the demo. So
yeah,
I'm looking
and
forward
has
to this
that
one.
proven to be good when some bald idiot isn't yelling at you from behind while you're playing? No.
Oh yeah,
okay?
I recommend it.
I don't think he can yell at
recommend doing it
himself
that way.
from behind, in all fairness, Tim.
I play
try.
while I'm looking in the mirror.
Yeah. The one thing I found, I didn't see there was much feedback from the kind of drifting. No, it felt like it could do with a bit more vibration feedback when that was happening, I think, or something. I don't know, but haptic feedback.
I didn't really mind it.
No? Okay.
I didn't mind it. It looked nice. It played nice, and it took a minute to adjust to. I mean, such as any, because this is more of a kart racer, even though it doesn't look like a kart racer in the
that's true,
style of the game. But with any of those games, it takes a couple of races to get used to the controls, and then once you've found your groove, then we're good.
Which is harder to do when some idiot is yelling at you. But anyway, the other thing I was going to mention quickly is the publisher had a game that I really liked the look of, but didn't make it back to play again. But that Elise thing was a kind of cool-looking action platformer. I quite like the look of that they were showing off as well. But yeah,
you can wishlist that on Steam. Apparently, I've got their card. Yeah, at least it looked cool, but there was constantly people playing that. So
yeah,
get to give that one a go.
I have one random question for something that may have been at WASD, just because I want to hear how this game is
Angerfoot?
doing. Well, Angerfoot, yes, Angerfoot, you mind-reading madman, you. Angerfoot.
Yeah, I didn't cover it just because we've covered it a few times, but they set up like a little. There were people that sat down and played that game solidly for an hour. I had 10 minutes on it and went, right, I want to kind of beat a couple of levels and then I'm good and then go off. But yeah, that is a really fun game. It's the first person alternative to my what was it called? That violent
Hotline Miami.
Hotline Miami. That's it. It's very much Hotline Miami. I really enjoyed that. I couldn't figure out how to switch guns.
It's all right. You got feet. That's all you need. Just kick things in the head repeatedly.
I did a lot of kicking and running out of ammo. And then at the end of my last playthrough, I picked up one of the guns that fell down after kicking an enemy and went, oh, you can swap guns. I wonder how I did that. I should learn how I did that before I actually pick this game up. Yeah, that game's fun. Anyway, all in all,
so that is coming out Windows,
quite a fun WASD.
Linux, Mac, I believe, Angerfoot. And guess what? There's a demo available. So you should play it. I've already played that demo. I liked it. You should play it too.
Everyone should play it. It was a good game. But yes, well, just a quick shout before we top off this WASD thing, and that was we spoke to Pete from Rapid Reviews Radio that I spoke to. He came over to approach us because he listens to the show. And I've started subscribing to their podcast. Pretty good podcast. Their WASD episode went out super quick as well. They did on-site recordings each day, each show, and then put it all together and threw it out. So that was a good one. And Jade, I think it was Jade. Yes, and Jade from Mystical Ethereal Thing on Twitch, who's a Twitch streamer. So yeah, fun times.
Comment, rate, subscribe.
So that was my first WASD. I enjoyed it. I
Good.
recommend it to others.
Good.
Good.
Should
we cover any more games, or do we have? How are we on time?
Yeah, I think we're trying
busy
to
today.
51 minutes ish.
How's your time, Dan? Are you okay?
Probably good for another 15 minutes, I reckon.
We did also have 5 minutes of pre-show as well, no? So
I think
Sure.
I've got a feeling you want to speak about Stellar Blade, though, don't you, Coleman?
I do, but not as in depth as Tim did on the demo, just because it was a lot.
Because it
But
was
just-
Tim talking about it.
No, just to kind of clear up, because I'd watched him. I watched the Gamers Confessional. Hi guys, they're watching, and they were talking about the demo, and I watched a couple of previews and things. I just couldn't get my head around whether I wanted this game or not, and just took a gamble, went on it, found a decent deal on PlayStation Credit. Actually, got it for £50, and it's really, really good. It's very highly polished. It is a very tight game. I thought this was going to be more of a Bayonetta hack and slash from the descriptions, but this kind of seems to be more of a Souls light. It's a Dark Souls with a difficulty setting. So, so there is that. But yes, swords, guns, women in tight clothing.
Yeah, I still can't. I know. I've ranted about this before. It's just like, really, haven't we moved beyond this? Especially when I saw like YouTube footage of like the bunny girl costume. I mean, really?
Somebody, please think of the children.
It's think not it's that. It's just that I don't see a need to just overtly sexualize and make everything have boob physics.
yes, I think the much bigger problem though is just the fact that she's just a bit of a bland character. I thought she's just a bit boring, but like gameplay wise, I think there's not much wrong with that game. Gameplay wise, no.
No, it is a really, really good game. I am highly enjoying it. Unfortunately, I don't have. I mean, I've put a few hours into it already, but it's one of those games that I can't just sort of pick up, play a little bit, and put down. It's one that I've got to
get
put
into
the
rhythm.
time in. So I need the hours to play. Unfortunately, I've been quite busy lately. But yeah, I recommend it, especially if you can get it at a discount.
Yeah,
Not because it's bad, but I just don't agree with
but
spending
generally
£70
speaking,
on
that
games.
is good advice to live by. If you see a thing and you could buy it at full price or at a discount, buy it at the discount price.
Yeah, that's the same for anything, really.
That's just math, people.
Talking
I did have
of,
footage, but I wanted to run through it very quick. So
Yeah.
Put it in.
Talking of Souls-like games or Souls-light games, I've been playing a bit of Another Crab's Treasure this week. And yeah, I've been playing it on Game Pass, where it is kind of, freely available sort of thing in inverted commas.
Free.
But it is very much
Asterisk.
a kind of, even though it
It's an
is
investment.
childlike sort of graphics, it is very much a brutal, unforgiving Souls-like game, basically. And at first, I kind of painted myself into a corner in this. Like, I got to the first boss by kind of sneaking around a lot of the initial enemies. And I thought, I didn't know I was going into a boss fight. I was just trying to get myself a shell, and I thought that would be a good idea. One of the kind of conceits in this and the opening part of the story is you lose your shell because of, like, gangsters sort of robbing your shell through taxes.
Gangster hermit crabs.
You wouldn't steal
Yeah.
a shell.
No, well, not crabs, but yeah. But then your shell gets stolen, but then you are using other items as shells, and they impose like different powers upon you depending on the shell that you have. So one of the early ones you get is a soda can, and you can fire bubbles out of that as a kind of distance move that you can hit enemies with. But like, yeah, as I said, I kind of paint myself into a corner just because I got to that first boss battle without really leveling up. And that was a silly move, and I had to kind of go back and do a bit of farming and get around the land a bit because that first boss fight was absolutely brutally unforgiving when I hadn't leveled up at all, basically. So my first piece of advice is make sure you look around the first starting area for quite some time before you go and get your shell, which you might have thought was the first thing you want to do. It is not. But I like my first kind of play session with this, I put it down having got stuck in that, and it was really that. And I'm glad I went back to it and played through and actually like went around and explored it a bit more, because it really is really good when you get into it. It's a bit more linear than, say, like Elden Ring, that being a full open world type game. And this gives the impression that it's open world because it's got kind of open areas. But it is a bit more linear in terms of you go from A to B to C in terms of like what you do is the overarching story of the game. But it's got some really good humor. There's some really funny stuff. The only thing I'd say about the humor is like in a Souls-like game where you're repeating like the same boss fight or the same part of a level again and again, some of that humor gets a bit lost. And there's also a bit too much platforming for my liking that doesn't particularly work well again with the Souls-like type formula where you're repeating that platforming again and again. But it's not, the platform isn't majorly challenging, so I'm not too disheartened in that. There are like shortcuts where you're dropping like fishing lines down where you can like then pull yourself up for different things as well. Matthew Clark says it runs marvelously on the deck. I can see this being a good deck game. I don't know how well it will run on the Switch, even though it's not a graphical powerhouse. It'll be interesting to see if that's all right. But it's one of those things where I think, because of it being a bit like I've got to the point where I'm on the third boss now, and I'm gonna have to go out and farm for a bit, I think, before I can get through that, and it's gonna take a while to farm.
Right.
And I just think that's like, I don't know, it could do with some other things, but yeah, I also kind of got to that point without unlocking a load of powers and stuff, and so I think I've actually now gone and done that and gone back, and it's still quite difficult. But the humor's good, like the various different shells you can get give you different powers and make the game play all a bit differently. The one thing I think one of the biggest downfalls is there's a couple of technical hiccups just in terms of like if you die, you can like sometimes, especially in boss fights, it will give you like a jellyfish that will transport you to exactly where you were before, rather than having to go back to one of the kind of bonfire equivalents, which are moon snail shells in this game, basically.
Moonsnailshells.com.
Where you can go to upgrade, and when you go back to when you die. But in the boss fights, it will kind of put you right there. But then you recover your junk, as it calls it.
What?
Hey,
Yeah,
back to Stellar Blade.
I knew you'd like that. Thought that would wake you up. But basically, the economy in the game is all junk based or trash based, basically. To give it a word that won't set you both off. So, and there's a whole kind of overarching story thing where like different creatures are getting poisoned, and that's sending them into a frenzy, and that's meaning they're attacking you and stuff as well. So I think there's going to be an overarching message behind that as well. But generally, like, yeah, when you recover your drunk, usually you get your shell back, but that doesn't happen every time. And I think that's just a technical thing that can be patched out. But the biggest problem, especially for a Souls-like game, is that the camera's a bit wobbly at times. Like if you're in a tower or something, you'll often get the camera where the camera will be on the outside of the tower and you'll be on the inside of the tower, so you can't see what's going on, and you'll get hit by enemies just because that's the case. But yeah, like it's, I don't know, it's not a major problem, but it is a problem on a few times. And if you die because that's the case, then that can be a bit of an issue. But generally, it's a fun Souls-like game, which is a rare kind of combination. And as such, like, I have had fun with it, and I will continue to play it for a bit. I'm glad I got it on Game Pass rather than parting for money with it, though, basically. But I'll see how much I persevere with it.
How you describe it.
Elden Herring, yeah.
Yeah, very good. But talking of which, rate the quality of the fish-based puns in this game.
That is good.
I'm
that is very
there
good.
are
That's
some.
one of the better. Like, there are loads of like fish-based and general underwater puns, and they are top quality. Maybe not quite as good as Elden Herring, but up there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Elden Herring.
Herring, indeed. Yeah, see
Herring.
what I did there? What I did
I get
there.
it.
That's what I did.
I get it. These jokes, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Dark Souls. Dark Dover Soul. Or alternatively. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tip your waiters. Are we done? I think we should be.
I'll just quickly say I've watched all of the Knuckles TV show. It's pretty good.
Taking one for the
Binge
team.
Knuckles.
Thank you, Coleman. How was it?
And it depends if you like the films or not, but it's a very good accompaniment to the movies. And Idris Elba's Knuckles continues to amuse me in that the characterization is kind of that Drax style where he can't. Everything is literal and he's very serious. I find that good. The best part of it is there is an episode dedicated to him sitting down with a Jewish family to have a Shabbat dinner, and the mother of the household keeps referring to him as Knuckles, which I find adorable and amazing. Yeah, good show. If you like the films, then you're going to like this one, I think.
Lovely. Well,
Nice.
that looks like a show, I think. Yes, it is a show. But
Kind of looks like one.
It kind of looks like a show. Do you know what makes a show a show? An opportunity to buy my
Coleman.
face. That's right. That's what you need to do. You need to go to the internet. You need to go to tpublic.com/store/BRB. You can buy things with my face on it. That's right. Things put on your face that have my face on it. Things that you can put on your chest that have my face on it. You can put your baby in a baby grow that has my face on it. Yes, that's right. All of these
What a
things with my
nightmare.
face. tpublic.com/store/BRB. Other products that don't contain my face are available. They all suck.
I forgot to put the banner up. Yes, tpublic.com/store/BRB. We have things that don't contain Dan's face.
Yes, definitely.
But they are inferior products according to Dan. Go check it out. Support the show. Support the site. Support the artists that make the stuff.
Wear my face.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, that sounded quite serial killery.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
But
Yeah,
Silence
come
of the Lambsy.
Mm-hmm. Tim, Tuesday is a Tuesday. Tell me about Tuesday and what should excite me this coming Tuesday.
Well, everything should excite you this coming Tuesday, Dan. Just
Everything?
the dawn of the day. That should generally do
Really?
it for you. But
Wow.
if that isn't enough,
Have you
and
been
that
to
isn't enough
Slough?
for you, then each and every Tuesday,
It being light is the worst bit.
okay, yeah, that you should keep in the dark. But each and every Tuesday, we do an event called Tabletop Tuesday at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington. This week's feature game is a game called, it's a game based on a video game. So it's absolutely perfect for a board game event in a video game themed bar. It is
the game
Minecraft,
based on the game.
The game based on the game. It is Minecraft Builders and Biomes. So not only will we have a copy of the feature game that you can win just by coming along and trying it on the evening, but as Loading Bar also does a Minecraft-themed cocktail, you will win yourself a Minecraft-themed cocktail to go along with your Minecraft-themed game as well. So, yeah, an extra special prize.
cocktail.
Yes, an extra special prize for this week.
Are they doing those little Minecraft shots?
Yes, that's
Remember
what it
those
is,
big little
basically.
blocks?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
those. They're great.
Yeah. So, I think it's the dirt block shot that you can get along with a
Bit of a
copy
branding
of
problem on that
Minecraft
one, not gonna lie.
Builders and Biome.
Oh, can I have a jar of mud? Lovely. Fantastic.
Oh, I went a
Mississippi
completely
mud
different
is a
way.
very nice cocktail as it goes, but anyway.
Mhm.
Love a Mississippi mud pie. I clicked something on my screen and now it's gone weird. Hold on.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh no, does it mean
Back
the
in the
sound
robot.
was broken? What a shame.
Oh no. What a
Oh,
shame.
it meant the show was broken. Okay, if you've enjoyed this show, then you are a weirdo, but we love you all the same. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. You can find us over at bigredbarrel.com. That is our website. That is where we host these shows. And also, we have other content up on there. And we have a link to our Discord. Over there, we have a YouTube. We have a YouTube. We have a Facebook and
YouTube.
X.
We're
do.
not
I'm
middle-aged
I'm
at all. We
all
have a
out of
YouTube
order.
and an internet.
We have Facebook, X, and Threads at Big Red Barrel. We have YouTube, Big Red Barrel TV, and we have a Twitch, Big Red Barrel. I've got to get those in line. I keep saying it every week. Come join us on Discord. Ask us questions, much like these fine folks have, where they say, I have a question.
Yes.
Richard Kirk says, it's election day today. Which video game characters would make the best/worst mayors?
Gonna go in first. Hagar.
I mean,
Mayor
he is
Hagar!
Mayor Hagar. He has got credentials, so that helps. I've also got an answer for that. As the best, Mario, because, well,
Plumbing?
for one, Mayor Mario's nice alliteration. For two, he's wearing red and blue, so,
Right.
he's kind of equal. And three, he's got a working class background, and that'll be good for the working class people. So, that's good.
But what's his policy on affordable housing?
Yes.
Wow. Great question, Coleman. Thank you.
Solid work, Tim.
Yes.
It's me building affordable housing. But on the flip side as well, the worst mayor would be Bowser, because he's basically dinosaur Trump. And yeah, grabbing princesses by the thing I won't say, so you don't have to bleep it out.
Well, rather than Bowser, how about the movie specific version of King Koopa that has been compared to Trump over the years with
No?
the blonde hair and all that?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
if you were
yeah,
going
yeah,
that direction.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Pac-Man because it's funny. It's funny.
For best or worst, because I think he'd be pretty bad. Yeah, it doesn't have
Both.
arms, for one.
Wow, Tim, you and your ableist slurs. Jesus.
Pac-Man, for mayor of London, he's going to sort that ghost problem out for us. He's going to get them drugs off the streets by gobbling them all
By
up.
gobbling away, he's gonna.
Nom,
I
nom,
mean, he'll
nom,
be
nom, nom, nom.
absolutely off his non-existent tits, but hey, what are you gonna do?
And for the worst mayor,
Space Invaders.
sure. Why not? Following up on this, Spiky Chris says all three hosts need to do a mayoral candidate speech. No.
Vote
I'm
Tim.
not.
I
Vote
was
for me.
saying no.
I'm not a Tory.
I refuse.
Specify it.
We got one which
Count
I
Tim face.
accidentally forgot to put this in the agenda, but very
Right.
quickly. The man called Rick, he say, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is one of the most 7 out of 10 games I've played, and I'm genuinely confused by all the 9s and 10s and Game of the Year shout-outs it received. So my question is thus, which games that
Hasn't
received
sold
9s
well,
and 10s across the board that you have played thought were average at best?
Ooh.
And if I...
Destiny
if
and
I were-
Destiny 2.
Oh, shut your mouth. They scored a 7 and an 8,
Wow.
respectively.
Wow.
Dynamite drop-in money at broadcast school has really paid off.
Yeah. I will say, I've got two actually. The launch version of Cyberpunk 2077, because that was getting huge marks. A lot of very reputable sources, or what are deemed as reputable sources, were giving it high marks. Only for after the game had finished its launch, went And here's the real review afterwards. Now we've got our big yellow chairs, and we've got a lot of influencers in big yellow chairs with Cyberpunk written on them going, this is an amazing game.
That's more difficult because I would have said that a lot of them were probably told that a lot of things would be fixed at launch, and then they had to kind of base their review on that a bit. But I can take that one with a bit of.
I don't accept that as an excuse.
Okay, you don't.
And the other one would be that Star Wars game that I always forget the name of. The sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. Because that game still plays horribly.
That's also still broken. Yeah.
You got any, Dan?
The Persona games I've never really got on with. Everyone says they're great. Don't really get on with them. Don't know why.
Do they get 9s and 10s across the board?
They got the Persona.
They do get pretty high marks.
Yeah.
All right,
Just
fair
didn't
enough.
really do it
Pretty
for me.
high.
Perhaps it's because I'm a grumpy old man.
Okay, so Destiny, Cyberpunk 2077, whatever the last Star Wars game was
think Tim just
called,
said Destiny
and
to
every
spite me.
Persona game.
Yeah, that wasn't a real answer. I'm not sure what I have for a real answer on that one, though. So I'll have to think and come back on that one.
We've got one from Clarky from Gamers Confessional. He says, Horizon Zero Dawn, 7 out of 10.
See, I do like the Horizon universe, but I don't like the games. I can know what he's doing, saying in that one. Yeah, I'd almost rather that was a TV series than a video game. Oh, that's why I have, though, The Last of Us. That gets 9s across the board, I think.
Really?
The
Don't like
mechanics and that. Right, there are elements I really like, but overall the mechanics of the game I just found a bit dull. Like, I don't like sneak 'em up type things a lot, and there was also a lot of like crafting stuff which I found a bit dull, and then the combat was a bit meh.
I didn't like the controls of the first one, but I think the second one is a huge improvement on that. And since then, they've then gone back and they've since gone back and redone the first one in the second engine with the same controls and everything. So that's if there were a worthwhile improvement to be made, it would be that one.
Okay, good to know.
I think that's enough. Shall we go?
I think so.
Okay.
I think we should finish.
Says as
So,
starts queuing up his themes, ready to get out.
That is your lot, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for downloading us, or even tuning in live, which you can do at YouTubes, is what you can do. Go to the YouTube places in the links below, and I believe you might be able to come and watch us live. We tend to record on a Thursday, around about 6 in the evening, UK time. So, yes, come along, say hello. If that sounds like something that qualifies as a vaguely good time for you.
Like, comment, and subscribe, and smash that bell, guys.
Yeah, you need to smash it.
Don't
smash
smash
the
that
bell.
bell. We need that bell
Smash the-
for future weeks.
Smash the bell.
Smash the bell end. Smash it.
Other
Yes.
YouTube things.
Yes, all of those things. So we are going to wrap up, and all that really remains for us to do is to remind you that I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
Ooh, I've been some jiggle physics.
Do have a strangely gelatinous head.
Gelatinous head.
Basically a blue
That is
without
There's
a
your
nipple.
show title. Thank you.
genuinely the first time I've ever heard that.
Right, we're going to go. I think we've peaked. It's time for us to leave now. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
We'll drink a drink to Lily the pink, the savior of our human race. Or she invented medicinal compound, most infectious in every case.
You and your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
To BigRedBarrel.com.
for more podcasts?
News, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarrel.com.
I think I should have the singlet actually with my moves.
Nice. Are you going to
Running in
go
slow-mo.
for the secret inbuilt Wonder Bra in your one piece?
I don't need it.
Don't you? Wow.
Just gonna go
It's all
topless.
flesh, baby.
Nice.
Right.
It's
Shall we
all
talk